Your Pet's Life Coach. I'm Carrie Hyde, and we are now streaming through two things. So you may hear me talk about Saving Pets One Pet at a Time, which is a Facebook group that I am an admin for that got started many years ago because of a dog who to the Hills Science Diet recalls that were happening. And so Kelly Bones started Saving Pets One Pet at a Time. And I was fortunate enough to meet her and become a part of her group. And now I help her with a whole bunch of people that are involved in it, including quite a few veterinarians that are involved. So you may hear me respond with Saving Pets One Pet at a Time, or you may hear me talking about the Spaw, which is where these are both streaming through, both on the Spaw and on Saving Pets. But as we get into this, please feel free to ask any questions. I usually pick a topic to talk about. Kelly had asked me if I would start doing more videos, and we're working on getting you guys more and more videos on Saving Pets with some of the veterinarians that are admins with us, and just to get some more information out there for everybody. Sometimes it's really hard. We talk about it in Facebook groups. It's kind of hard sometimes to answer questions just through text. Sometimes we need more context. Sometimes we need more tone and just more questions we might need to ask. So we thought doing a little bit more videos would be helpful for you guys on Saving Pets. For those of you who follow the Spa, I've always done a lot of these videos. So it's a way for my clients to be able to ask questions that I'm guaranteed this is where I'm going to be. And if you have any quick questions that I can answer for you, I'll be here. For those of you who don't know, I was a vet tech for 12 years, and I left the veterinary world for a lot of reasons that I won't even bore you all with. But mostly I was in college and I was trying to wrap up something doing in college. And then I opened up the Spa 23 years ago, 24 years ago. And I just loved it. And I love what I'm doing now. And I have been spending a lot of time in nutrition, got my certifications as a pet nutritionist, and I spent a lot of time helping people with nutrition and just different kind of goals. Started calling myself Your Pet's Life Coach. Actually, a client started it, and probably about 5-6 years ago, and I just went with it. So, but I'm here tonight, and we're going to be talking about something that is hopefully not going to make me cry, because it's something that I just went through just recently, and it's a little scary for me to have been in it, even though I coach people in this all the time. But you know how it is when it's happening and you're in it and you're deep in it. It's a little different than when you're coaching someone to go through it. And so I want to talk tonight about dental care for your pets. And so I'm going to share a little story with you guys about a little dog. If you notice the picture that I put up there, his name is Albert. And so I started getting involved with actually Andrea, who is also an admin for Saving Pets One Pet at a Time. So she is also works in rescue. She works for a rescue organization called the Road Dogs. And it just so happens that she wanted to, oh, good. Yes, I'll post them and you can go back and watch it. So Andrea also is an admin. She works in rescue. That's one of the great things about Saving Pets. So if you're following me on the Spa or vice versa, I would definitely recommend that you follow Saving Pets One Pet at a Time. So we have so many great admins, but Andrea is one of them, and she is so fabulous and works on the medical side for the rescues. And she's a medical director there. So she knows a lot of what she speaks of. And she helps answer questions. Well, she had reached out to me and asked me if I could take this little dog as a foster. His little name was Albert, and you probably saw his picture. Don't cry. I'm not going to cry. So he's this little rescue dog that I took on in December. It's funny because she had to remind me how long I had him, because I didn't think we had him that long, because he's just, when I wrote his bio to try to get him a home, when we thought we were going to be able to get him a home, which was really my goal, is that this little dog didn't die without having his own little special home. He was at the Spa. He did come to my home for a little bit, but he was also at the Spa, and there's 25 of us that loved on him. But I really wanted him to have that special little bond with one person that he could sit on their lap with. And so when I wrote his bio, I wrote about, hi, Ruby. Ruby from Real Dog Box. Hey, we're going to be talking about some of the stuff that Ruby has in her place when we talk about dental care, but and the importance of it. But Albert never ever made a peep. He was the quietest, most loving dog. It's hard to think where he ended up. So he ends up somewhere, someone just kind of discards him. I don't know the reasons, so I don't want to judge. You never really know the reasons why an animal ends up in that situation. Could be a family, someone died and there wasn't anyone to take the dog. I have no idea. But he did find himself in a pretty bad situation in Road Dogs, which is fabulous. And I'm just going to put a little plug out there. If you guys want to find a rescue to donate money to, I'm telling you right now, this organization that Andrea is a part of is amazing. They are a holistic rescue, which is rare. It's really, really rare, which is why I got involved with it, because I've been involved in rescues before where they're forcing me to do stuff that I just adamantly do not want to do. Feeding them junk food and giving them all sorts of medications and drugs. And yeah, she's pretty amazing. So this organization is a holistic rescue. It's called Road Dogs. And I can't even tell you, I mean, they jumped in so fast to help Albert, and the money that they came up with to help him was shocking. And the phone calls they made and the love, and it was just amazing. And I've worked with several rescues in the past, and I don't want to say I refuse, but now I'm very, very comfortable working with them and taking on their fosters. So I took Albert in. And that was one of the things I loved right off the bat with Road Dogs is I wanted to put him on a species appropriate diet. His skin was awful. He was a hot mess. And so I desperately wanted to put him on a good food. And a lot of times the rescues are like, no, you can't feed him that. You have to feed him this. And they go through all this stuff. And so, but right away they were absolutely, please do. And so they allowed me to just kind of do what I needed to do. But one of the things we knew from the get-go when we got Albert is that his teeth were really bad. And when I say really bad, one of the worst cases I've probably ever seen. He wasn't experiencing, we didn't see any signs of pain necessarily at that time, but you had to think there was some pain in there. I immediately put him on small batch, which is one of the foods that I love, and he gravitated to it very quickly. His stool was great almost from the get-go. He had a little bit of runs from the beginning. When he first came to me, he spun and spun and spun and spun and spun and spun and spun. It took about a week, and I think diet had a lot to do with calming him down. I think he was probably, who knows what he was eating. But he stopped spinning quite as much. He still spun, but not nearly as much as he did on the first day that I met him. Gravitated to his food really well, but we knew we had to do something or do nothing. Those are your choices. And this is why I want to talk to you guys tonight about not getting in that situation. And if you are in that situation, I am so, so, so very sorry. I currently right now am struggling with not playing the blame game, right? I don't want to blame myself. I don't want to blame the veterinarian. I don't want to blame the receptionist at the vet hospital. I don't want to blame the emergency room doctor who, okay, maybe a little bit because he really did nothing. So, but I really don't want to put that blame on anybody, but I am going to put the blame somewhere. And I know a lot of times we say we shouldn't blame, but unfortunately you're going to hear me blame. And you know who I want to blame? I'm going to blame the veterinarian schools. And I'm going to blame the dog food manufacturing companies, because there's not a pet parent, even though this dog did end up in an animal shelter, and I don't know the reasons why, but there's not a pet parent out there that wants to feed crappy food. There's not a veterinarian out there who went to vet school because they hated dogs. So every veterinarian, including the one I'm kind of a little upset about at the emergency clinic, they all went to school because they love animals, but they're getting this misguided information. I have no idea. So people can sell products is what it ends up being. So if I'm going to put blame on Albert's death right now, I'm going to put it on the vet schools, and I'm going to put it on dog food manufacturing companies. So, but we had to make a decision. And it was one that wasn't an easy decision because his teeth were so bad that it was eating away at his jaw, his gum. Like the jaw was just completely, he couldn't keep his tongue in his mouth. The smell that was coming out of his mouth. You could definitely smell very far away. So we assumed he was in pain. Dogs do a really good job. This is why it bothers me when you do see a dog in pain, because in the wild, animals know instinctively that if they're the weaker or they're in pain or they're weak, they can be killed. And so dogs will hide their pain for as long as they can hide it until it has to come out. So by the time a dog is showing you that they're in pain, we're not talking about the little I got a headache. They're in pain. And so he didn't really show that, but I am sure he was. I don't see how teeth can be that bad and not be in pain. So we had to make the decision and talking. We took him in originally, the very first vet visit that we got. And as you guys know, it takes forever. I don't have any special magic powers that I can get in sooner. I do know quite a few veterinarians, but that doesn't mean that I can just put some other dog aside so that my dog can be taken care of. It's really difficult because a lot of animals need to be seen right now. So we got him in, and the first veterinarian that saw him, they did blood work and they listened to his heart, and we discussed it. And we decided that his heart was unbelievably strong and his blood work all looked great. And so now these are our choices. We do nothing and we allow that bacteria to continue to fester in his mouth and eat at his jawbone and destroy his gut. And we just let him go. Now, we don't know how old Albert was. I'm going to guess he was 15, maybe, would be my guess, 14, 15 years old. But so we could either let that happen and leave him like that and, just continue to feed him good and love him or feed him well and love on him and give him I wanted to start giving him, we were going to give him, a whole bunch of stuff, but we had to figure, you got to do things slowly. You don't want to just throw this dog into everything. He's been through a lot. So after speaking with the veterinarian, we decided to go ahead and have his teeth removed. Back when I was a vet tech, I would often see dogs get another lease on life when all of the infection and stuff comes out. So I kind of deferred to that and thought, I even had a dog many, not myself personally, a client's dog many years ago. And same exact situation he found himself in, and they had the teeth removed and he lived many years after that. Now, I don't think he was as old as Albert, and that might have been, where I might have went wrong is how little he was. He was only like 4 pounds, his little guy, and he lost a little bit of weight. I think he was down to about 3 at the time that he died, but he, which is a lot of weight. So we decided to go ahead and do it. We're going to go ahead and put Albert, go ahead and do it and see what happens. And so he had to have his entire mouth done and stitches and all sorts of surgery. And there was so much holes and gaping things. And we took him home. I took him home actually to my house. He stayed with me for a while and just such a trooper. I mean, he never even cried. I mean, can you imagine having all of your teeth pulled from your mouth and then you nothing, you don't cry, you don't bark, you don't get up in the middle of the night and throw a fit. You don't, oh my God, I can't even imagine. He probably would have went to work that day if he had to go to work. He was such a trooper. So he was doing pretty well. And then about a week after, he started to get a little diarrhea. And I thought, oh, I don't know what that is all about. And so we tried to give him a little bone broth and just thought, oh, maybe, just from all the stress and everything. And, but it didn't clear up. He was still having the diarrhea quite a bit. So we called the vet. We couldn't get him in. And that's when we had to take him to the emergency room because I was like, okay. He's starting to paw at his mouth. So he was starting to do this like dig into his mouth and the diarrhea. So I'm like, okay, there's something more going on than just the diarrhea. It's got to be, the diarrhea is probably from the pain and he's just having a hard time. So we took him over to the emergency room. I personally think that was an extreme waste of time. He didn't do anything. I hate to say the thing. Sometimes I think that, I don't know, but sometimes I feel like when they find out it's a rescue dog. Yes, this is a dog I was fostering. I think sometimes when vets, I don't want to say vets as in a whole, but I certainly got the feeling that because Albert was a rescue dog, that he got less care. I feel like, oh, it's not really her dog. She's not going to care. And so I just got that horrible feeling that because he's a rescue dog, Andrea, if you're on here, maybe we shouldn't tell them that anymore. I feel like I never want to tell anyone ever again that it's a rescue dog or that I'm fostering him. I think I want to go in with, this is the love of my life. Don't you freaking screw up. That's what I want to say, because I feel like he got not cared for the way he should have. It was just kind of like, whatever. So they looked at him. I don't even know what they did, and basically told us, here's some metronidazole and some gabapentin, and sent us home. So, he's in a lot of pain. He's going at his face. Like he was going to self-mutilate. I mean, that guy would have ripped his eye out. He was in so much pain. But this is the middle of the night and I'm trying to figure out what to do. And so I gave him a little bit of the gabapentin, which I just kind of, I can only say I regret. Oh, hi, Andrea. There you guys go. There's Andrea. We were talking about road dogs. And how fabulous you are. And I'm just sharing his little story. And we are at the part where we get to the emergency room. Hi, Song Song. So we get him over there, and basically, like I said, it's just some metronidazole and some gabapentin. And he started saying that he thought that Albert had dementia, which we already knew, and couldn't quite figure out why he was focusing on the dementia versus focusing on what is going on in his mouth. Knowing that he just had all his teeth pulled, we wanted to know if there was something going on in there. Andrea and I thought maybe he had an abscess or something up in his mouth. We didn't know. So we took him home, and it didn't help. We ended up getting him back over to the veterinarian. She checked his mouth and thought that he was upset over some stitches that might be still hanging. So she cut back the stitches. Didn't help. Took him back again. And then she was able to get some better images and found out that he had a gaping hole on one side of his mouth. And also his jaw was just eaten away, and she didn't have enough skin to cover it. So she was going to try to do that again. So we had to do a second surgery, which we went ahead and did. And then Albert passed away that night, or the next day at like 3:00 in the morning. So, when we got him home, he didn't eat, but you didn't think that, I mean, his teeth he just had second surgery on his mouth. It didn't seem crazy or unreasonable. Oh, and they cleaned his ears. That's right. Andrea and I were kind of giggling that we took him in because of his mouth, and they seemed more interested in his ear that needed to be cleaned. That didn't, in my opinion, but whatever. That's right, Andrea. So anyway, we got him home, and he didn't eat that night, and that morning he little nibble, but not really much. And honestly, I was going to take him to the vet the next morning, the morning that he passed away, because if he really didn't eat his dinner that night. And so I thought, oh, that's it. He's going to have to go back to the vet. But I was sure as hell wasn't going to take him back to that emergency room vet. So my plan was, Andrea probably doesn't even know this. My plan was to call Andrea in the morning and say, we got to get him back in. There's something going on, but he passed away. It's just awful. It's awful. And I don't want you guys to ever be in that situation. Ever be in a situation where you have to make the decision, which will come down to life and death, right? Where you say, go ahead and do the surgery because I don't want this dog to suffer for the rest of his life. Then you do the surgery, and then the surgery is too much for your dog. And then your dog passes away. Trust me, it took me 2 days, and I'm still like, but for 2 days, I was up at night just going, I made the wrong decision. What the hell? Why did I make the wrong decision? Like, I know better. The pain medication that we had him on, I honestly don't think he should have had it, but Andrea's been so great. She's like, it's not your fault. But I'm like, maybe I shouldn't have given him that pain medication. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is. And I've been doing this long enough, and I've counseled enough people to know I did what I thought was right. And this isn't even about me. It's about making sure you guys don't find yourself in this situation, because it's awful. It's awful, awful, awful situation to think, oh my gosh, he had such a strong heart. Like, this is what's going through my head. He had such a strong heart. He was doing really well. He was eating. His coat was turning in. I was giving him microbubbles baths. His coat was just turning into this beautiful little Pomeranian coat it was just awesome. And I'm like, God, he probably could have went like that for, not forever, I know, but for a very long time. And he even had a home. I'm so mad at myself. We even found this wonderful woman who was going to adopt him, and she had already filled out all his paperwork when he got the diarrhea. And so this is really about you guys, and please be adamant about your dog's dental care. So we're going to talk about dental care. We're going to talk about anesthesia, dental cleanings, my thoughts on them. We're going to talk about, can't wait to share this with a rescue that thinks kibble is the answer. She has no tongue. Oh. There was a couple of questions here, but we are going to talk a lot about dental care and anesthesia free. He was not a candidate for anesthesia free dental care, not even close. And we're going to talk about, my opinions on them. And it becomes a very strong opinion. A lot of people have where they just are adamant one way or another. And I tend to be more middle of the ground. So we're going to talk a little bit about that, give you guys something to think about. Let me look at a little of these. I just got off work about post these videos where you go back. If so, what dental products do you recommend for a Maltipoo? We are new parents and she is currently over a year. We honestly do not do anything other than offer her the dental sticks periodically. Thank you. Okay. Last week I heard you mention stomach acids. It may be too long to answer here, but I would like to understand more about this topic. My dog has some GI issues. Yeah, we'll definitely talk a little bit about that, because to be honest with you, the GI and the mouth are very connected, which was one of the reasons why I was adamant about getting all that infection out of his mouth, because every day he's swallowing it, it's going down into the gut. And so, they're very, very connected. And so, and stomach acids, if there's too much acids in there and it's killing off bacteria that it's not supposed to be killing off. So they're all very, very connected, which is why you need to pay very, very close attention to your dog's teeth. So we are going to do some trivia tonight, so make sure that you guys are ready to do some Google stuff. If you were on last week, you know that I gave away 2 bottles of some Nui Gear shampoo, free. I shipped them and everything. And I really like it. I love giving stuff away. Makes me poor, but I love giving stuff away, products that I love. So I am going to be giving products out every time you guys are on here. So, and I know you're going to Google it. So I'm not going to say no Googling. You have to guess. I don't care if you Google it. It's going to be the first person. So tonight you're going to want to be really quick, because I'm going to be asking a 3-part question, and you have to get all 3 of them right. And you have to get them the first ones, and it needs to be all 3 of them. So you have to answer them in one text, all 3. And if you get all 3 of them right, you'll send me an email with your address and I will send you out a product. So first I want to talk about when your dog, when they're puppies, they have, of course, their puppy teeth, and then they're going to get their adult teeth. So I really tell people, you can brush your puppy's teeth. I want you to do that, because you don't want to wait till your dog is 6 months old or 7 months or 8 months or a year old to start getting in your dog's mouth and brushing them. You want to start day 1. If you get that puppy at 10 weeks old, day 1, you want to start getting in their mouth with your fingers and touching stuff and moving stuff around and getting them used to it. But they won't have their adult teeth until a little bit later. So the baby teeth are all going to fall out. So that's not about cleaning their teeth when they're babies necessarily, although why not? It's more about getting that puppy used to it. You don't want to start training. Do you guys love my ponytail? I have been at work all day bathing dogs. And so I couldn't get out of there fast enough. So we're going to talk about brushing teeth and what I use and how I do it and what to do first and foremost. And I mentioned earlier that Ruby from Real Dog Box is on here, and Ruby has some fabulous products for your dogs to chew on. And obviously those are kind of the only line of defense, really. Well, not only, but in the wild, that's all they have, right? They don't have a toothbrush. They don't have all the stuff and products that I'm going to recommend to you guys. They don't have all that stuff. But they do eat a species appropriate diet, which means they're not eating the starchy carbohydrates, which is the number one cause, by the way, of dental problems, is the carbohydrates. They do not break down in our mouth. As humans, we break down carbohydrates in our mouth. So right away, when we start to digest food, we produce a digestive enzyme called amylase, which will start to break down all of the plaque in our mouth. That's what the saliva does. But your dogs don't do that. So when they're eating starches, that just sits on their teeth and it just rots out their teeth. The dogs who have the worst teeth, which is ironic to me because back when I was a vet tech, I always say that. And I hate that I say that all the time. I don't know how else to say it. Find another way to say it. Back when I was working for the vets, I could not tell you how many times I told people that they needed to feed kibble because it cleaned their dog's teeth. It's embarrassing. It's so embarrassing to think I actually said those words to people. And there's probably someone somewhere who's like, I remember that vet tech a long time ago told me that kibble cleans their teeth, so I still feed my dog kibble. And I wish I could find all those people and tell them how wrong I was. But the dogs who have the worst teeth by far, 100%, and I see 60 dogs a day, are the kibble fed dogs. And I'm not again, I always put myself in this bad situation because then now people think, oh my God, Carrie will yell at you if you feed your dog kibble. I'm not going to do that. But I do want to find ways to help you understand the limitations that kibble has and all of the good stuff that a species appropriate diet can have. So, but finances can be a problem. So I'm not here to tell you that you're a horrible pet parent if you feed kibble. I'm just here to tell you that we can add a little bit of good stuff in there to try to help. Ruby from Real Dog Box has some great stuff that you could just add in to help them chew and do that kind of thing to keep their teeth clean. Now, this is where I get controversial and people get mad at me, and I understand the differences, and I know people are going to get mad at me, and I'm sorry, this is my opinion. So I am not a fan of bones. I am not a big, huge fan of dogs chewing on bones. And the reason why is because I spent some time down in Yellowstone with a wolf expert, and I've also brought wolf experts on the show before on the podcast. If you watch or listen to this podcast or watch it, the second reason that wolves die in the wild, the number 2 reason that wolves die in the wild are from chewing on bones, and it breaks their teeth until they can't hunt and survive. They can't eat anymore because they break all of their teeth and it grinds their teeth down to nothing, and then they can't survive. So we'll do a quick little trivia. Are you guys ready? Got your fingers on your thing? What's the number 1 reason wolves die? How about that? Number 1 reason wolves die. I'm catching you guys. See if you're listening. Number 1 reason wolves die. First one to get it. Oh, I was way off here down here. Powdered items, inulin, ground flaxseed, bully stick. Sorry, guys. I was not seeing all of these questions. Number 1 reason wolves die. Anybody know? The second reason that wolves die, number 2 reason wolves die is from chewing on bones. That's why I'm not a fan of them. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. Disease. I'm probably just going to go ahead and give it to Lisa. Hunters it's humans. Humans are the number 1 reason that wolves die. We kill them. A lot of them are being killed in the Yellowstone area, and they're not necessarily hunting them, but we'll give it to you, Lisa. Congratulations. I'll be sending you out some stuff. You got to just send me a little email because I need your address and stuff, and I'll send it out. But wolves definitely, in the Yellowstone area, most of the time the wolves are being just killed because they're on the property of big, giant, very wealthy. The Walmart family is actually probably one of the biggest culprits of it. So just keep that in mind when you're shopping at Walmart. But they have a lot of property out there, and anytime a wolf is on their property, they kill it. So, and it's sad too. I did a podcast on this too a while back. It's really sad because they can actually put these very special dogs that are bred to protect their land. So all they have to do is put these dogs on the land, and they will keep the wolves away. Not only the wolves, but the bears and anything that's coming in to eat the livestock, but they don't want to do it. So instead, they just like to shoot them. So that's the number 1 reason wolves die. The second reason that wolves die is from the bones that they eat. I was able to go down into a wolf den. My husband got dragged along on that trip. It's such a funny long story that happened that maybe one day I'll share with you guys. But it was one of the most adventurous things I've ever done in my life. Like literally got to go down to the wolf den and got to see all of these bones. And what was interesting to me, I said to the wolf expert, I wanted to pick up these bones, and I was there to see what wolves were eating. I wanted to learn all about wolves, um, and their natural habitat and what they eat and how they eat it and all this. So it was really interesting because the bones were all left there. The only bones that she said that a wolf will eat is the rib bone, and she says it's a very soft bone, but unless they're starving, they would not eat the bones, for the very reason that it breaks their teeth. So I'm not a fan of bones. However, I do like things that are a little bit softer. I know that like the duck bill is a little softer, chicken feet, those kind of things that are a little bit softer for them to chew and pull and rip apart. That's how they end up getting their teeth clean, is from ripping it apart. So I be very, very careful with bones, because you definitely do not want to start getting broken teeth down and end up back at the vet, and then your dog has to go under anesthesia for a broken tooth, and it just is trickle down. So I don't like bones. Especially our little dogs. They just can't do it. The big dogs, their teeth are a little stronger and bigger, so they tend to be okay with it. And there's a lot of people that feed them and they're perfectly fine with it. But for me, as someone to recommend that, I'm not real comfortable doing that. So let's see what else. I know these poor disease. So interesting. I just want to put, someone says disease. You know what wolves don't die from? This isn't going to be something I can send you guys something out for anyway. But guess what wolves don't die from? Somebody can guess that. Are elk antlers safe? So they're great. They're good, but they are hard. So they can break your dog's teeth. But they do have a lot of great benefits to your dogs, but they can break your dog's teeth. And you just have to be aware of that. And it has a lot to do with how your dog, I like bully sticks. They're softer. They're definitely a softer thing. You're right, Nicole. Wolves don't die from cancer. Isn't that interesting? One of the wolf experts that I met with and talked to, they track these wolves. They actually bring them in and they take blood work and they test them. And he's never once had a wolf with cancer. So interesting to me, which is why I'm a big fan of a species appropriate diet and trying to follow closely as we can with the wolf's natural, the canine's natural lifestyle. I don't want to call it diet, because it's not. I don't want to. The Himalayan chews, if you can soften them up, I know if you can put them in warm water, sometimes those will. Bully sticks broke my dog's teeth. Oh my gosh. Yeah. Soften them up a little bit. If you get your bully sticks and you have a dog, you also, it also depends on if your dog's teeth are breaking very easily. It could be that there's some recessed gums in there. There could be some dental disease already starting. So, because bully sticks, but you can soften them up. You can put them in some water and get them a little bit soft. Same thing with the Himalayan shoes, get them nice and soft. So, and then you could look at some of the stuff that Real Dog Box has. They have some great ones, but just I would be careful with those kind of things. Anything that can break their teeth. So let's talk a little bit about, a species appropriate diet. And when I said about the wolves' lifestyle that I want you to follow, not their diet. So the diet is great. I'm not saying that you shouldn't with breeding. Yeah, all of that's true. Oh, well, there you go. See, the Himalayan shoes also can splinter and get lodged. Yep. Thanks, Andrea. So you have to know your dog and know how your dog chews, what his mouth looks like. Like, is it already a healthy mouth? Is he already eating? But when I talk about wolves and their diet, I don't say follow a wolf's diet. I say follow a wolf's lifestyle. And that encompasses how much exercise they get. They're rolling around in dirt. They're getting bacteria from the soils. They are not bathed all the time. They don't have flea and tick stuff put on them. They're not getting vaccinated. They're not getting dewormed before they're barely out of the womb. They are eating a constant rotation of food. They're not eating starch. They don't eat rice, potatoes, macaroni. They are eating a lot of protein, but they're burning a lot of that protein. They're burning a lot of that fat because they're exercising. So the closer your dog's lifestyle is to a wolf's lifestyle, the closer your dog will be to what a wolf eats. So what I mean by that is if you have a couch potato, then he cannot eat all that fat and protein because he's not burning any of it off. And do wolves eat every day? No. But we're over here cramming food down their throat every single day. And then they go sit on the couch. And then we're like, how the heck did my dog get pancreatitis? He's eating a species appropriate diet. It's because I'm not an advocate for a species appropriate diet unless your dog is going to be like, if you were going to do like a wolf, then he needs to do the wolf's lifestyle. And the further you get away from that lifestyle, the more you need to kind of ease off a little bit of how much fat, how much protein, how much all of that kind of stuff that you're going to put in there. That wolves don't die of heartworms. I haven't, but I bet it's true too. Necropsy, they do sometimes have them. They're so healthy. Yeah. Isn't that amazing? Yeah. Nature takes care of it. Nature takes care of it. If you saw my post recently, I did a post on a client that I was working with, and she was able to get rid of Giardia. Giardia is not a worm, but she was able to get rid of Giardia just from doing pumpkin seeds and garlic. So it's pretty interesting. So tooth broke when he was young and he had to have it removed. Since then, he's hardly had a bone and felt bad and worried about his teeth since heard they're good. But hearing you, not worried now. They also have bones for heavy, medium, and light chewers. Responsible pet stores. Earth's Naturals, not rawhide. I've given him, but much without supervision because they can break. Yeah, be very careful when you're giving your dog stuff. You really want to know how they're going to digest it, if they're going to digest it, those kind of things. So choose like chicken feet and duck bills and those kind of things. Just make sure they come from a really good company, that they're not being processed down and stuck in a bag, sitting there for years on end and preservatives added to it. And it's coming from China. Like there's so many things that can be wrong with something that looks like it should be so simple. Yeah. Tom Gable was amazing. I loved doing that one. Tom Gable is one of the wolf experts that I got a chance to speak with. And I've gone quite a few times out to quite a few wolf sanctuaries just to kind of learn as much as I can, and take what we can that we learn from the wolf and apply it as much as we can to our domesticated dogs is important. And so diet is going to be part of that, making sure that they are eating none of the starches that dog food companies want to put in their foods because they're cheap. And don't let anybody talk you into thinking that it's okay and telling you that rice has protein in it. That I heard that one recently. They love to say that carrots have this in it or that has this in it. But if your dog's not going to process it and digest it, it doesn't do you any good anyway. So what's the point? Okay, so we talked about broken teeth, being very, very careful about what we give them because we don't want to break their teeth and cause any problems in there. Wolves eat a lot. Well, where I was, they were eating a lot of elk, but they have a rotation of their diet, which is why we try to get you on Saving Pets and on the Spaw. I know Andrea is a big fan too. We constantly are talking about rotating your dog's diet because in the wild, that's what they do, because it's only provided whatever's provided for them, right? So in the wintertime, maybe a wolf isn't able to hunt down an elk, and they gotta maybe get a mouse now because that's what they can get in the snow. Or maybe the blueberries are only available during this time and this vegetation is available this time, and they do a lot of fasting. They don't eat every single day. That podcast that Lori, thank God, who's behind the scenes, just posted, that podcast, Tom talks about how wolves they'll fast up to 3 weeks in the wild. And they had a case where a pack of wolves took down some elk and then they dragged it out into the woods and they left it there. They could have eaten. It wasn't that they put it there. There was other food available, but they were self-fasting and they saved that elk 3 weeks. The elk sat out in the woods before they went back and ate it. So when we talk about what they eat, we also need to talk about what they don't eat, which they don't eat all the time. They don't eat all sorts of starches and junk food. They just don't eat it. Their bodies don't digest it. Now, we've messed up our domesticated dogs' guts to the point where we need to get it back. we need to bring our dogs back to the way it was intended for them to be, because if we keep going the way that we are going with all this IBD and these upset stomachs every time we turn around, they can't have this, they can't have that, this upsets them, that upsets them, they've all got anxiety. We need to bring them back to being able to eat a species appropriate, rotating, fasting type situation. But we can't right now, because some of us can and have done it, but people are having a hard time doing it because we've messed up their guts so much. So, but in general, the first thing a wolf will eat, and I asked the wolf expert this. So the first thing they do when they hunt and kill and take down whatever they're eating, whether it's a beaver or an elk, which is high on their list of food. Elk is one of the highest things, at least in the area I was in. One of the things that oh, it's okay. Hi, Arlene. One of the things they do is right when they hunt and kill, the first thing they do is rip open the chest cavity and they go straight to the organ meat. Why do you think they do that? When you think about it, it makes sense. A wolf never knows what predator is going to be around, how much he's going to eat. They're not going to sit there and nibble on a little bit of this and a little bit of that. They hunt, they kill, they take it, they go straight to the organ meat, because the organ meat has the highest value to them. So if a grizzly bear comes over and they get chased off by a grizzly bear, or another fight happens or whatever, they've at least gotten to the most nutrition that they can get. And from there, they will slowly work their way out. And also in doing so, right? Where do they get their fiber from? A lot of times people think that wolves only eat the meat. They only eat the organ meat. It's not true. They get the fur. The fur is the fiber that is provided to them. So they're getting fur, they're getting blood, which has a lot of nutrients in it. They're getting the organ meat. And so when people ask me about what they should feed their animals, I am like adamant on organ meat. It's one of the first things when people go, what do you think about this food? I'm like, well, it doesn't have any organ meat in it right away. And there's a lot of studies now that talk about how when if your dog has heart failure, which is common in dogs, if your dog has heart failure, they should be eating the heart, raw, just complete little bits of heart, because the heart has its own enzymes in it that can actually heal. And they're doing that research in humans. So it's super interesting. But we'll go back to the teeth. And so we talked about whether or not we're going to feed bones. But what do we do? If you're feeding a species appropriate diet, you're not really giving bones, but you're giving maybe some chicken feet. You want to give the chicken feet once or twice a week. So obviously we need to talk a little bit about teeth brushing, right? So I told you guys, very early age, the day you get the puppy, get in there with a toothbrush. Now, I actually recommend a washcloth over a toothbrush, but you can certainly use a toothbrush if it's easier for you. But I really, really like to use a washcloth when I'm brushing my dog's teeth. You just put the washcloth around your finger, get a little one, and you're going to put it in there. And so I'm going to show you guys what I use for teeth brushing. So at the spa, we brush a lot of dogs' teeth. And we make our own toothpaste because I want to make sure it's as organic as it can be. So I use, you just go to the store and get your coconut oil, right? But you want to get that the thick stuff. Oh, this is a brand new jar. So it's organic coconut oil. It's 100%. And it's thick. If you haven't done it, it's going to be thick like this. So you just take that out. And then I actually put inside it, I put Dr. Judy's, I don't know how to do this. So this is Dr. Judy Morgan's dental drops, and it has a little bit of peppermint oil, but what it really has in it, the active stuff, is the deer velvet extract. It's also got a little bit of manuka honey in it. And so what I'll do is I'll take a big scoop of this. You don't have to measure out anything. You don't have to sit there and go, did Carrie say 2 scoops or 1 scoop? Just make enough toothpaste for, I don't know, a week or 2. And we make a big thing of it because we're using it at work. And then I'll just put the dental drops in there. You can, if you want, you can get your own. It doesn't really smell too pepperminty. If you want that smell in your dog's teeth, look at my cat. Can you guys even see my cat is sniffing this coconut here? I'll put it right here so you can see her little whiskers if she's going to do it. So I'll put a bunch of this in it so that we can brush their teeth. But if you just take a washcloth and kind of dip it in there and then go back and forth, that abrasion, no, sweetie, she likes to steal. Okay, she's going to steal this. She's a thief. No. that abrasive stuff from the washcloth it's amazing. It's so amazing. So yeah, these are really good. You can also, if you don't want to do that, I just really recommend, because these are great. You do want to do this every day. And I know that's crazy when I tell you I want you to brush your dog's teeth every day. I don't brush my dog's teeth every day. I try to get in there as much as I can. If you can do it every day, you are a rock star. Absolutely. If you can get in there every single day and do it every day is great. But these are very active in getting in and killing, breaking down tartar and plaque and stuff like that. So I mix those two together, and that is my toothpaste, and it's not very expensive, and I can get a lot done. Coconut oil is amazing at helping also to break down the tartar, and so that's why I like to use the coconut oil in there, because it also helps to break it down. And then these drops are also awesome. So after I brush their teeth with that, I get in there with the washcloth and really just get in there and just kind of scrub off with the wash teeth. Then after that, and this is, you can do this two ways too. This is one of my other favorite, really awesome things. It's called teeth. And basically what it is it is going to go into your dog's mouth so that it can break down plaque. It's basically turning your, it's like the gut. It's like making sure that the gut is as healthy as the mouth. The mouth is as healthy as the gut. And this is a bunch of probiotics and prebiotics. It comes in a little tiny jar. It is not cheap, guys. I'm not going to tell you. I wish it was. It is definitely not cheap. And it's just a little teeny tiny little bit of powder that's in here. And when it gets wet, it turns yellow. So don't panic when you see yellow. The company got Black Sheep toothpaste for dogs, which is nice. I don't know that one. This stuff, the reason that I like this is because it's this process is really about making sure that the gut is healthy. And that's why I like this, because this is a bunch of bacterias. And the company recommends, I'm trying to open it for you guys so I can, whatever. I was going to show you the powder, but I guess you know what powder. It looks like a powder. But this is probably going to be the prize for tonight. So I want to make sure, maybe I won't open it so that I can just send this one, because it's not cheap. So when they want you to put it in the water. So you put a tiny bit into their water, and then when your dog drinks it, it just constantly keeps that bacteria. I personally spray it in my dog's mouth. So I like to make up a little spray bottle of this, and then they don't like the squirting, so I try to do it really soft. But after I brush their teeth, I go in there and I spray this also in there. So they kind of get a double whammy in their mouth. The greatest thing about this, the other great thing about this, is that you can also spray it on their body. So this, if you've heard me talk about the skin's microbiome, which I talk about a lot, this is the product that I will have people, after they bathe their dogs, spray on top of their skin, especially in areas where your dog might be chewing or licking or biting or something, and maybe they have a little bacteria there that's causing them to itch. This is basically, well, not basically, it is 100% good bacteria. So you can spray it on their body, you can put it in their ears, you can do all sorts of stuff with it. It's pretty amazing stuff. So while it's expensive, you don't have to use very much. So this little teeny tiny jar will last you quite a long time. And it can be used for so many things. So that's what I do for dental care. But diet is number one. Absolutely. If you did nothing else except fed your dog a starch-free diet, a sugar-free diet, you'd be doing such a great thing for your animals. So let's talk a little bit about, I had mentioned, so this is, get ready guys, because it's going to be your little testers going on here. So I said there was going to be a 3-part. So I'm going to ask these questions very quickly, and you need to, it's called TEEF, TEEF. Let me show you the bag. See if I can put that up there. So it's pretty awesome. And the people who put this together are amazing. Like they'll talk to you and explain everything to you. So it's pretty cool. Yeah. So, okay, guys, you ready? I'm going to give you a 3 parts here. You have to have all 3 of them listed under your same thing. So don't just type out one and then send, one and send, one and send. I want it to be all in the same thing, okay? So are you ready? Who has more teeth, humans or dogs? How many teeth does a dog have? And at what age does a puppy get adult teeth? There you go. Who has more teeth, humans or dogs? How many teeth does a dog have? And at what age does a puppy get his adult teeth? All in one, guys, all in one. Try to type it all together so I know who gets all. You have to get all three of them to win. Who has more teeth, humans or dogs? You guys are Googling it. How many teeth does a dog have? And at what age does a puppy get his adult teeth? Let me see if I can go back through some of these questions. Somebody's going to get it. Nobody's gotten it yet. At what age does a puppy get adult teeth? Oh my gosh, if none of you guys get this, Apple the Golden. Congratulations. Yes, dogs have more teeth than humans. They have 42 teeth and they get their adult teeth at right around 6 months. Congratulations, Apple. Make sure that you send me an email and I'll be sending you out some teeth for, I'm going to say it's for Apple. So I'll be sending you out some teeth for your dog. Congratulations. The reason I really wanted you guys to remember that is because at 6 months, if you have to start brushing your dog's teeth at 6 months. If you can do it sooner, it's great. If your dog's teeth fall out sooner than that, please make sure that you immediately start brushing all of their teeth, whether you do it with a toothbrush or you do it with a washcloth, like I said. Another really good thing, if you could teach your pups this, I wish I would have taught my pups this when they were young. But I didn't even think about it until way later. But if you buy the little Sonicare toothbrush for babies, for children, and you can get your dog used to that vibrating Sonicare, amazing what you're going to do for your dog's teeth if you can get them used to it. I have yet to get a dog used to it, but if you do, that would be another really great thing. But the second that, as soon as your dog has any adult teeth, not all, but any adult teeth, you really want to get in there and brush. I do recommend that you brush even before then. It doesn't matter that the teeth are going to fall out. It's really about getting your dog used to having their teeth brushed. But if you don't, just start. Yeah. If your dog is already, but you start now. I would have your vet. I know we were going to talk about anesthesia or non-anesthesia dental, which I'm going to talk about right now. I would have, now here's the thing. If your dog's mouth is already just got tons of bacteria and stuff in it, teeth brushing isn't going to do you any good. Like going in there with a toothbrush could actually make it worse. Not make it worse, but it could make your dog's health worse. So let's just take worst case scenario. And your dog has a heart condition that you're not aware of. We're going to say that, or a kidney infection that you're not really aware of yet because the symptoms haven't started. And the gums are a little inflamed and there's a little bit of tartar there, and you start going in there and brushing, you could be releasing some of that bacteria that could actually get into the bloodstream, and you could actually end up making your dog pretty sick. So if you think that you're starting your dog middle and you already know there's a bunch of tartar and plaque buildup, then you might want to have a vet look and make sure that we can go in there. We even have to turn down dogs at the spa that want us to brush their teeth. We won't do it. Now, if you have a young dog who's like 2 years old and he looks like he's getting a little bit of tartar or plaque, you should be fine. But if you got a dog who's, I always say, like over the age of 5 and some tartar, have a vet go in and just listen to his heart, make sure that his blood work is good, everything's good, and we're not releasing a bunch of bacteria in there that could be causing some problems. Yeah, 10 months should be fine. I can't imagine that it wouldn't be to start brushing. And I know, if you guys brushed your dog's teeth once a month, it's better than not doing it at all. But I say every day because it takes 24 hours for plaque to build up. That's the little kind of whitish stuff that you could scrape off with your fingernail, but it takes it's a little bit longer for the tartar. when tartar starts to harden up. So, but plaque is every 24 hours. And then if you keep letting that 24 hours keep going, every 24 hours that goes past, your plaque starts getting thicker and thicker and thicker until it's tartar. And that's that dark stuff that actually has to be popped off the teeth. I don't like to use peroxide, especially anywhere near the eyes. If you're going in there and you're trying to brush and it gets all kind of crazy and it can get into the eyes, I'm not a fan of using it. The washcloth has been great. Yeah, the washcloth works really, really well because you could just kind of put it on your finger and go in there, and it works amazing. It's crazy how well it works. I've taken dogs and just on their canines and done that. But let's talk a little bit about the controversy of anesthesia and non-anesthesia dental cleanings. So first and foremost, I will tell you, I don't know about every state, but I know that in the state of California, it is against the law for somebody to come out to your home without a veterinarian present and clean your dog's teeth, non-anesthesia. We're talking about non-anesthesia. So it's against the law for somebody to come to your house and clean your dog's teeth without a veterinarian present. It's against the law for groomers to have somebody in the back of their grooming shop or their pet store. I've seen pet stores are doing it. They just hire someone in off the streets, and I shouldn't say off the streets, but they just hire somebody to come in and clean your dog's teeth. And out in California, they'll charge like $80-$90 to do it, which sounds like a steal, right? They're going to go in. Some vets will say it's purely cosmetic. I don't know if I'd go so far as purely cosmetic. However, having your dog put under anesthesia and being able to go way up into the gum, whereas most of the disease like Albert had, that was way up into his gum. That wasn't, anything superficial. It wasn't that. It was up into his gum that needed to be cleaned. So, and cleaning wasn't even going to do him any good at that point. He had to have all his teeth pulled. But so know that I would never, not only because it's against the law, but never, ever, ever recommend anybody doing a dental non-anesthesia on your dog without a veterinarian present. And I don't mean in the same building. I mean present. I mean watching. I mean listening to that heart, giving you a report whether or not that dog has any kind of a like heart murmur or something, or infection in the mouth, because these techs that come out and do dental cleanings, they are not going to be, same thing with cats. Cats, almost everything I have told you about dogs, the same with cats. And I'm sorry, because I have 4 cats. I don't even know where they are. They're usually hanging out with me. More important for your cats to be on a species appropriate, I shouldn't say more important, for your cats to be on a species appropriate diet. They also can break their teeth from eating bones. My cats eat chicken feet once a week. They love them and they chew on them and they grind them down and to help keep their teeth clean. So definitely. But non-anesthesia for cats depends if you can find somebody to do it. It's kind of hard. Ultrasonic teeth cleaners. I think they're great if you can get your dog to do it. Like I said earlier, I think if you can get one of those little Sonicare toothbrushes, get the ones for children, for babies, young children, and they're really tiny and you can get in there. You just have to get your dog used to it. So non-anesthesia teeth cleaning. Do I think that you should do it? Every once in a while is better than not, in my opinion. I think Albert would have been better off had somebody at least done that than to not have done it at all. But there needs to be a vet present. And I mean, like I said, present, like involved, like checked the dog out, not just, my vet has it. And so the tech came in the back door and the vet never even saw that dog. The veterinarian should be examining that dog, examining his mouth, doing everything that he or she should be doing, and then allowing for the vet tech to do it, or the technician or whoever's going to do the dental cleaning. And then the vet should be doing a post check. Okay, how did everything look? Anything happen? Everything's good. So anesthesia, I have some things I want to say about the anesthesia teeth cleaning, and this one's going to be hard, and I'm not trying to scare you guys, but back when I was a vet tech, I did all of the dental cleanings. That was my main job. I did all the dental cleanings. These dogs were put under anesthesia, and I'm not proud of this, but I was really young and dumb. And so the dogs would be put under anesthesia, and then I would be put in a room with these dogs, and no vet was around. Nobody was around. I think because the vets didn't think that dental cleaning was that important. So they would just leave us to, or me, I shouldn't say us, there was no us, to watch the anesthesia machine, to do the dental, to do everything. I am super fortunate that I never ever lost a dog under anesthesia while cleaning teeth. Never even came close to it, thank God. But I used to be involved with an organization called Joey's Legacy, which is an organization that's trying to stop veterinary malpractice. The number one call they get is dogs dying under anesthesia while getting dentals. So I don't think that's because, I literally do not think it is because of the anesthesia. I think it is because vets are letting technicians be in charge of all of that stuff at one time. And it's just not something that anyone should do. So I do recommend that your dogs get an anesthesia dental cleaning. It's important. Your dog should get those. And in between those, if you want to do the non-anesthesia with a vet present, I think that's great. But your dog should definitely, my own dog's going to be going in, I think month after next. I think he has the appointment. He's going to go in and get his, and his teeth. I take very good care of his teeth, but he's really getting pretty old. I didn't get him as a puppy, and he's already starting to lose 2 teeth, and I take very good care of my dog's teeth. And so it can happen. I mean, just like us, like humans. I mean, look at our old people, right? Even with the best, I mean, we brush our teeth. Hopefully, we're brushing our teeth twice a day, and we can still lose our teeth. So you want to get in there and get that taken care of. But when you're making appointments with your veterinarians for anesthesia teeth cleaning, please check with them. Who's doing, here's one of my kitties. Here's one of my babies. Who's doing the dental? Who's cleaning the teeth? Who's going to be present? Who's watching the anesthesia machine? Is it a tech that is a registered vet tech? It should be. No, I shouldn't say it should be, because there are a lot of vet techs that are awesome that aren't registered, but you really need to check and ask questions. How many people are going to be in the room with my dog while my dog's under anesthesia? Make sure you check that, because it's really hard. Like when I look back on it, like I don't know how things are now because it's been so long, but I am picking away trying to clean these teeth with this machine. And there's another machine over here that I'm supposed to be paying attention to. I'm supposed to be doing this and that and this and that and this and that so that this dog doesn't die under anesthesia. And I was like 18. It was stupid. And so I got very lucky. Number one reason that Joey's Legacy gets calls is from, well, back then when I was involved, the number one reason was from dogs dying under anesthesia for dental cleaning. And anesthesia is not this super unsafe thing. So you have to kind of wonder what happens when that happens. So make sure you check, make sure that your dogs are getting those anesthesia dental cleanings. I absolutely can't stress enough how important it is to do that every once in a while. Probably wouldn't be unusual to have your dog have that done at least 3 times in his lifetime. If he lived to be hopefully, 20, 25. And now we know the oldest living dog is 30, currently still alive and is 30. So I would say at least in your dog's lifetime, 3 dental cleanings, and making sure that you're brushing every day. I'm going to say every day, because then maybe you'll do once a week. I don't know. What are we going to go for? What about cleaning the inside of the teeth? Those double brushes are tough. Never could do it, even though, yeah, that's what's kind of good about, that's one of the reasons why I really like the coconut oil and the dental drops by Dr. Judy, because even if you're getting in there, some of that's going to be kind of going down on the inside, because it is really hard. It's not like your dog's sitting there going, oh, let me open up my mouth for you. So that is what is so great about the diet being part of it, making sure we're not giving the stuff that's rotting it. And then these drops and the coconut oil, because it'll kind of swish around in the mouth, and those are designed to clean also. And then of course the teeth, spraying that in there, that's breaking up all of that stuff too. So that's why it's really important to make sure that we can get all of that in there nice and clean. So, because you're going to have a hard time getting in there. Yes, they just take our dogs and we don't know what's going on in the back. I know. Ask questions. At the very least, maybe if you ask, they'll feel, oh crap, that lady asked us and I want to make sure that I stick with it and do that. At what age should the dental cleaning begin if they have a healthy set of teeth? I would really start looking at it around, if they're eating a species appropriate diet and you're doing everything else, I would say around 3. They don't get their, you guys know that they don't get their adult teeth fully in until about 6 months old. So you figure at a year and a half, they've 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 had their teeth only for about a year. Um, so, at 1 year, when they're a year and a half, their teeth have only been adult teeth for a year. So just, you got to pay close attention though. You got to look. If you're starting to see a lot of tartar buildup in there and plaque buildup, and you can't keep ahead of it, then you want to jump in there quicker. But I would say 2.5, 3, you really should start thinking about it. And then really just every time you go into the vet, have them look and see, keep an eye. What do the gums look like? If you have young dogs right now, start taking pictures now. Start looking at what your dog's teeth look like, so that you can see when there's some changes. Sometimes they just get older and they turn a little bit yellow. They're not necessarily unhealthy. So just keep an eye on that. So my 12-year-old, at 12, my vets aren't wanting to put him under, even though he's healthy. His regular vet and holistic vet both don't recommend. Confused because you're for it, and Dr. Morgan and others who I respect. Yeah, it's just hard. It depends on the situation, and it depends on it. So that's why I said I'm not one to be all for or all against. And I really don't think that even the vets that feel like they're all for and all against really would be, if they really sat down and looked at each individual case. But it's really hard if you have a really good technician. I have a veterinarian, Dr. Hopper and Andy from Breath Savers, who come out and they do non-anesthesia teeth cleaning. And I think they do such a great job. I mean, he really gets as best he can in there. And sometimes cost is it comes into play. I mean, so long as you know its limitations, I think you really need to know its limitations. If you think you're going in to get a non-anesthesia teeth cleaning and it's as thorough and as great as an anesthesia teeth cleaning, then you're misguided, and that's what you don't want to be. You want to know its limitations, accept that there are limitations to it, take the good with the bad. But a dental cleaning, an anesthesia dental cleaning, there's nothing better than that. It can get all in the cracks and way up above the gum line. And that's where most of the disease is, like I said earlier. So, but it is scary. And Albert is a prime example. He was probably 15 years old, and I don't think that the anesthesia. Now, here's the bummer part. I think part of it is because he went under twice, and I think that it was too much. I think the second surgery was just too much, but he was in so much pain now because the hole was there and the jaw was exposed. And so it's a really, 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 really hard decision to make. That's why I'm trying to keep you guys from getting into that. Lisa, what I would say for now, but don't go too far, because 12 isn't too old. Start really getting in stuff like the teeth and the Dr. Judy's dental drops and just start now and see if you can make a difference. I don't know how bad they are. And it'll matter, because if it's a big chunk sticking on there and it's heavy, it's not going to come off. Very gently scaling, scraping with dental tool. He's fine, and watched YouTube vet doing it. Yeah, be careful. Be really careful. I mean, you can do some damage in there, but yeah, be careful. I had a vet one time scare somebody into not getting an anesthesia dental cleaning because he told her that, if the person slips, if the dog moves, then you can jam the tool up their nose or whatever, into their gums or whatever. And I kind of giggled, because back when I was a vet tech, and I did all those dental cleanings, the dogs were under sedation. I can't tell you how many times they would sneeze, because it's involuntary. So they would sneeze while I was doing it. And I'm like, what is he talking about? They move while they're under anesthesia too. He's just trying to scare her. So just know the limitations and do the anesthesia. If you can, make sure that, whoever's doing the anesthesia has an anesthesiologist, or available, somebody that knows what they're doing. Sometimes you get vets that are straight out of vet school, 4 years out of vet school, and boom, they open up private practice, because that's legal. My own son is in medical school right now, and he is graduating in June, and he still has to do another 4 years of of residency. So 8 years plus all of his pre-med, all of that. And it's just crazy. I'm like, I can't believe that we can just have somebody go to vet school for 4 years and then send them out to private practice. So ask questions. Who's running it? How long have they been doing it? How much do they know about anesthesia? Is anesthesia their thing? Because think about it in humans. We have anesthesiologists, we have, all these different specialties, but in the vet world, a lot of times it's just the vet. And maybe anesthesiologists, maybe they failed that class. I don't know. Maybe they excelled at it, but you should know before they put your dog under. So be really careful. Dr. Becker's mom uses ozonated water. Yep. Water pick for gum health. I think it matters. I love ozone. Ozonated water, I'm not really sure how I feel about it, to be honest. I don't think it will hurt. If the ozone is connected to it, I question ozonated anything because I wonder how it stays in there. I need to see it. I need to get a scientist to prove to me that if I put this ozone into water and I'm not continually putting it in there, doesn't it just dissipate and leave out of the oil, out of the air? I don't know. I'm not going to say that I'm right, but it's something that's been I've been questioning. Now, if the ozone machine is coming straight through the pick and it's constantly running through it, then I would say, yeah, absolutely. I think ozone in the mouth is a great way to get the mouth clean. Without a doubt. But I love the ultrasound toothbrush. ME ultrasound. It has no sound or vibration. Then how is it I wonder if it actually is doing some. That's interesting. I think I heard about that one time before, but I'm curious how it would create the ultrasound if it had no sound or vibration. Is it actually doing it? Ooh, I need to order one of those. That's what we should do is we reconvene here and I'll have that thing and then we can turn it on and we can look at it. It dissipates within 30 to 60 minutes, I believe. I had to look into that. It's so interesting because I thought about it. I'm like, how would it stay in there? Because you can buy ozonated oils that are in a bottle. And I'm thinking, God, over time, wouldn't it just not be there? I don't know. Or lose some of its power. I don't know. I'm not a scientist. I wish I was. Need to find one. Yeah, right. Exactly. o3vets.com. It's called an ME ultrasonic. And I heard about it a while back and thought, wow, that would be a really good idea to use an ultrasonic toothbrush. Because I know those work because my dentist can't believe the difference when we started using those. Now I don't have to have my teeth constantly picked at all the time. So I know those work. But the ozone stuff, but I know that you can actually use kind of ozone in the mouth. It's supposed to work. So, all right, guys, I don't know if there's I think somebody had asked me a question early on about the gut and I feel bad. I know it's something we might need to talk a little bit about, digestive enzymes and acid reflux. I had talked a little bit one time and I don't know if, oh, somebody has a question here too. I started teeth a few weeks ago. His breath smells like fish, but does not consume fish, trying to balance the diet. Per animal biome test, he had E. coli. It improved some. Adopted to 2 years. I'm trying to think. Lori La, if you could, I'm a little confused. So a few weeks ago, his breath smells like fish still or now? So it never smelled like fish, but now it smells like fish? And he had E. coli. I would also say go have, so this is just a little side note, not to scare anybody, but sometimes when a dog gets a really, really weird breath, sometimes people have said it smells like fish, and sometimes people have said it smells sweet, like a sweet smell. Sometimes that can be a kidney issue. So anytime you have a weird situation, like the mouth looks healthy, nothing really going on in there, and you get this kind of odor that's coming out, it's a really good idea to have your dog's kidneys tested. So to answer that question, I would say definitely. Also keep in mind that teeth is changing the biome of the mouth. So you will go through some changes at first as it starts to break down and kill things that are in the mouth and replace the bad bacteria with the good bacteria. So it will take a while, especially 2 weeks into it. I wouldn't be too worried about it. However, if you are getting that weird smell, for much longer, I would go have the kidneys tested and see what's going on, if there is something going on in there. Okay. So for those of you, I know that we did the little test or the little quiz. What did I call it? The little trivia. So make sure you guys send me your emails so that I can get these sent out to you. Make sure I need an email with your address. I believe so, because you can get it. Well, I should be able to ship it to you. If you guys want to get it from me, I don't see why I couldn't ship it to you. In Canada, there's nothing illegal about it. It's not like CBD. I know I can't ship CBD to Canada, but I can ship teeth if you guys want to get it from me. You guys can do that. And I think Lori can put up a little thing for where I can get it for you guys. Anyway, all right, guys, any other questions before I let you guys go at 6:15? And thank you guys so much for listening to Albert's story. If Albert saves somebody's teeth, then he's done more than some dogs. So I'll give him that. He was really a blessing to have and to be around. And I don't know. I just wish I could have. I wish I kept. It's so sad because when he got adopted, and then, I mean, she literally showed up at the spa to pick him up. And when she walked in, she says, "Oh, I'm here for Albert." I'm like, "Oh my gosh, you filled out all the paperwork. You got everything done." She goes, "Yeah, it's official. I can take him." That was the day that I was like, he's got a little diarrhea. I don't want to just send him. And so I had to tell her, you could take him if you want, but he's got a little bit of diarrhea, and I'm getting a little concerned. So she decided, and boy, was that the right move on her part, that she didn't want to take him. But then the rescue contacted me, and I said, I just really want him to be loved by one person and live in a home, and I regret me not taking him, but I have 4 cats and 2 dogs and tons of other little rescue kitties that I take. So it was just too much. But he had a home. He was so close to. That's all the rescue wanted for him. That's all road dogs wanted, was to get this dog to not have to die. And we were successful in that. He did not die. And in fact, my night shift, my night shift is up. And so, oh God, the phone call she made to me was just horrible. She was gut wrenching, screaming. It was awful. I mean, I don't think anyone, and she just couldn't believe it. And she was checking on him, and he was gone. And she got, the next morning, she went and bought him flowers. I'll post the picture so you guys can see it, but she went and got him. Oh, Carol. Well, there you go, Carol. Carol, I hope I'm right. This is Carol that was adopting him, right? Just want to make sure, because I don't recognize the last name because I never looked at the paperwork. So I just want to make sure. But he was just such a lover. I don't know. It's just sad. I'm sad. But I wanted to do this in honor of him and make sure that some other dog somewhere. Hi, Carol. So I didn't know you were listening. So this is Carol, everybody. She was the one that was going to adopt little Albert. And I'm so sorry, Carol. I know. What a blessing. She just came and she saw him and she said, a lot of people will not adopt an old dog because they know the road you're going down. And Carol came and she just visited with him. And then she went and filled out all the paperwork and did everything that she was supposed to do. And it just didn't turn out the way we wanted, but he was loved. He was loved, Carol. And I'm so sorry that you didn't get a chance to get him home and be with him. But I told the rescue, I just want him to get a home. So, but, he met the 2 dogs. Yes, we do need more Carols. There's not a lot of people who will adopt these old dogs. I mean, he had a little bit of dementia. And he walked around in circles, like I told you, and pretty sure he was blind. I don't think his hearing was great. I know he could hear because he would respond sometimes when I would like clap and stuff. But there definitely aren't enough Carols in the world. And so it's just been a hard loss, I think, for all of us. Andrea's on here. We all came on to talk about Albert and his teeth. And, what took his life. And so I told you guys at the beginning of this, I didn't want to put any blame. I don't blame myself. I don't blame anybody, but I do blame the vet schools. And I do blame the dog food manufacturing companies because they're putting crap in their food. And like I said, people don't go to the store and go, give me the worst crap so that my dog's teeth will rot out of his face. They don't do that. We're all buying into the idea that this food is healthy. Every single bag out there. You could go to Walmart right now and go down their line of dog food, and they all will say on the front of the bag, natural, healthy. This is so awesome. So yeah, I blame the dog food manufacturing companies for Albert's death, and I blame the vet schools for not teaching veterinarians better information on how to teach pet parents, because we rely on them, and I guess we shouldn't. I think that we now have to start relying on ourselves to really pay close attention to what we're feeding our dogs and how well we're taking care of them. Because at the end of the day, you don't want to end up in a situation where you're regretting and thinking and double thinking of what choices you made. And it will happen. So Amazon has just saw a video warning on ultrasonic tooth cleaners causing irreversible damage to enamel, gums, etc. Going to read more before trying one. The dentist going video said that's why people go through a lot of training. That's interesting. I don't know. I have been using my Sonicare toothbrush now for probably 20 years, I think. That's interesting. It's like we can't win, right? Thanks, though, Lisa. I always want to look into that stuff, but we can't win. No, it's okay. I got what you were saying. Especially when we're typing fast. You guys, if you ever see me doing that, because I'm triple multitasking, whatever that is, and then I want to send to everybody and get all the information out, and then I send it, and then I'm like, gosh, dang it, I look like a moron with my typos, misspellings, typos, whatever, those kind of things. So but anyway, yeah, we could look into that. I have not heard of that. And like I said, I've used ultrasonic toothbrush on me for 20 years. I don't know, forever. So, all right, guys, I'm going to go ahead and let you off. Don't forget, give me your emails if you won. No cheating. I can go back and look. And I will see you guys soon. So just want to thank Lori behind. Oh, it's not a Sonicare. It's ultrasonic. Which different they say? Wait, oh, it's different. Oh, maybe that's it. I don't know. Just so behind the scenes is Lori. She's the one typing all of this information up for you guys, so you have it. Without her, I would not be able to do this. She gets it all set up. All I have to do is sit in this chair and talk, which is not hard for me to do considering I was on the speech team in college for 4 years. And when I was a little girl, my dad called me Mouth. So apparently I like to talk. I was born talking, so I just get the easy part. I just get to sit here and share this information with you guys. But Lori, without her, I couldn't do it. And then without you guys, thank you so much for coming on, helping each other out, asking questions, getting the information out there, because it does. I always say it's going to take a pack, and it will take a pack of us to get this information out. And, you never know who you're going to plant the seed on. You never know who is going to you guys may be already feeding a species appropriate diet and being careful with the bones that you feed and doing teeth and brushing your dog's teeth. You may be doing all of that, but maybe this just encouraged you a little bit more to talk to your neighbor, plant a little seed over there. And then before you know it, our dogs are back to being like they were in the wild without their teeth rotting out of their head and dying of cancers and stuff. So little by little, we'll make it. I will be here every Wednesday. That will run live through Saving Pets if that's how you're watching it, or it runs live through the Spaw. So any questions that you guys have, you can always reach me also through email. You can call the Spaw, those kind of things. I do consultations. If you want, you can sign up for a little consultation. We can do kind of a more private one-on-one, so I can get a little bit deeper into. I'm not a veterinarian. I just share my experiences and what works that I've seen people use. But I do care a lot. So I hope that means something for you. I do actually really care about your dog's health. So, and your cats and your little kitties. I can't forget about the kitties. I don't know why. You know what I think it is? I think, look, I'm going to go off on a tangent. Cats don't beat me up, anybody. I'm a huge cat lover. They don't tend to have the same ongoing problems as dogs do. Correct me if I'm wrong. And maybe you have a cat that did. But cats, generally speaking, do really well. And then boom, they die from kidney failure. That's just historically, like from what I've witnessed. They're like cruising along, life it's great, and then they hit 18 years old and boom, they have kidney failure and they sadly die. Whereas dogs are constantly having problems, skin problems, ear infections, dental, like you name it, over and over. Cats are more hardy. Yeah, I actually think, and this is why I think that cats are more hardy than dogs, if that's what you meant. I think it's because dogs are getting over vaccinated, over medicated, and cats aren't. Because dogs are going to doggy daycare, and doggy daycares are forcing them to get a bazillion vaccines that they don't need. Dogs are going out to dog parks and going places, and so they have to have the flea, or people think they have to have the flea and tick stuff put on them. Dogs are getting taken away from, the breeders are deworming them right off the bat. So we have all these things that we're doing to the dogs. And then cat food, ironically, has a lot more meat in it. It has to have it. And so cats tend to get a lot more meat than dogs do in general. If dogs end up on just a kibble diet, they can end up having a bit of a problem. So I think that's why our dogs have more problems. And that's why a lot of times you see a lot of people like me talking a lot more about dogs than cats. But certainly one is not more important than the other. And when I had a cat die from kidney failure. She was 22. And it's awful. It's like everything's going great. You do everything right. And then boom, your cat dies from kidney failure. So it's pretty awful to watch going through that too. That's awful too. So, but anyway, all right, guys, I really am going to let you go because I'll keep you guys here all night because I just can go off on so many tangents with animal health because it just drives me crazy. Yes, Lori, thank you. Lori put up the save the date for you guys. Don't forget, if you're not aware of it, save the date. We are going to be doing the second Pet Expo, which will be in Newport Beach, California. We have six speakers, six amazing speakers, and one surprise speaker that I'm not going to tell you, but we are going to have some fun with that one. I love giving away stuff. So when and if the time comes and you're watching, I'm going to start putting up some, 8 speakers. I'm 8 speakers. And so 7 of them you're going to get to know, and 1 is a surprise speaker that I'm not going to tell you. And we're going to play a lot of games until you guess. And if you guess, you're going to get a free ticket to come to the event when we decide to start letting it happen. But we won't be letting out who that guest speaker is, but we're so excited to one day announce her. We won't be announcing her until towards the end. But it should be a lot of fun. And then some of the speakers that we have, you probably are familiar with, and they're amazing, and they're going to be speaking. So yeah, I could tell you the 7 right now. So Dr. Judy Morgan will be speaking at the event. Dr. Barry Sands, I don't know if you are too familiar with her, but she's pretty amazing. Billy Hookman will be speaking. Rita Hogan is going to be speaking. Dr. Udette Sutter. And then we have Julianne Lee from Adored Beast. And did I name everybody? How many did I name? Dr. Udette Sutter, Barry Sands. Did I get them all? Lori? Dr. Suter, Dr. Morgan, Dr. Barry Sands, Billy Hookman, Rita Hogan. Oh, gosh, Dr. Katie Woodley. Dr. Katie Woodley. Like, how amazing, right? But I can't tell you number 8. We're not ready to start handing out the hints. Number 8, you guys are going to be, you're going to be crazy. I can't believe it. Dr. Katie Woodley. Yeah, so amazing speakers. It's going to be a 2-day event, and it'll be in Newport Beach, California. So great time of year to be out here. Great time to get to go face to face with some of these amazing people, ask questions, learn a lot. We have a lot of really amazing vendors that we're putting together. The vendors are very specifically put there. I don't just let anybody come in. They're all products that I've used, have watched work on your animals. So it's going to be a great event. We did it last year, and it was only a 1-day event last year, but it's going to be a 2-day event this year, and it's just going to be fabulous. So we're really, really excited. So check that out. And I'll be here every week at 5:00 Pacific Standard Time. So you guys have a wonderful evening. Don't forget, if you have some pockets and some money to spare and you're looking for somewhere to give, please donate to Road Dogs. They're absolutely amazing as far as a rescue goes. I cannot tell you how amazing that that group is, and how lucky Albert was that he ended up in their hands, because they just spared no expense to help him. What does it take? Oh, you want to take him to the emergency room? Take him to the emergency room. It was just, it was really, really amazing. So if you can, please donate to the rescue organization called Road Dogs. I think Lori put the information up there for you guys, but I think it would be really great. And I will talk to you guys soon. Have a good night, everybody. Lori, thank you. Bye, everybody.